It's that time of the year where I talk about my favorite movies of the year. 2019 was a pretty good year for films, probably one of the best of the decade. There were a lot of movies that I really loved, and it was hard to make this list. Since it was so hard to decide, I actually made a top 25 favorite movies of the year list, because there were that many. But just a couple things before I actually get started with the list. One, I didn't see every movie of the year, so movies like this won't be on the list because I didn't get to see them. And this isn't the list of what I consider to be the best films of the year. This is just how I enjoy them. For example, 25 could be better than number one, but it just really depends on how I enjoy them. So without further ado, let's get into the list. Before we do that, let me say some honorable mentions. These were the movies that I liked or really enjoyed, but they just weren't that enjoyable enough to get onto the list. So those honorable mentions are Ford v Ferrari, Long Shot, Richard Jewell, Dr. Sleep, The Irishman, El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, Us, The Kid, The Hummingbird Project, Triple Frontier, Wine Country, Toy Story 4, Late Night, Ready or Not, Wandering Earth, Freaks, Zeroville, Ad Astra, Glass, and The Peanut Butter Falcon. All right, let's get into the list. "10 years of superhero films led up to Avengers Endgame, and honestly, it did not disappoint. While not really close to being one of the better MCU movies to me, no one can deny how epic the last hour of this film is. It's a little slow on rewatches, but overall, still a really good movie. First Love is essentially if Takashi Miike made a Quentin Tarantino film. It's got a huge cast of quirky characters with decent cinematography, and it leads to this very entertaining Japanese film that is just a fun time. While How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World is probably my least favorite out of the trilogy, this movie still has all of the heart and adventure this series has brought us. It's beautifully animated and was able to bring me to tears, and it closed the trilogy excellently. Well shot, well written, and containing one of my favorite performances out of the year with Zhao Shuzhen, The Farewell is a dramedy no one should miss. It's full of so much heart and so much love that I cannot wait to see what Lulu Wang does next. While I prefer Hereditary by a mile, Midsommar is a gorgeous-looking and pretty freaky horror movie. I thought it was just decent at first, but then I saw the director's cut and it went up quite a few notches. Release director's cuts, people! Good performances, great cinematography, and really funny dialogue all throughout. One of the best endings of the year as well. Hotel Mumbai is the true story about a terrorist attack that occurred at the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel in Mumbai, India in 2008. From the very beginning, you feel a sense of dread as everyone is checking into the hotel, knowing what's going to happen. It's intense, sad, but most importantly, well made. I'm not sure whether I like it more than Homecoming, but Spider-Man Far From Home is another good entry to the MCU. I thought it was a very worthy follow-up to Endgame and closed out the third phase on a high note. It's full of just dumb Spider-Man fun, which is all I could ask for. Those illusion scenes were incredible. Thank God Spider-Man is staying with the MCU for a little while, because if I was left on that cliffhanger for the rest of my life, I would have died. Honestly, Shazam is probably my favorite superhero movie of the year. It's dumb, it does have quite a few issues, but this is just a romping fun time at the movies. Zachary Levi is incredible, Asher Angel and Jack Dylan Grazer are great, but the movie's best quality is its humor. It's super funny. It might be a flaw that one scene has his foster family all loving each other and the next is Mark Strong throwing some guy out of a 100-story building while conjuring the literal 7 deadly sins from hell, but again, it's a good time at the movies. High Life is definitely one of my favorite space movies ever. It's slow, intriguing, well lit, trippy, and just amazing to watch. That's really all I have to say about it. The ending is perfect too. I'm not really a big fan of the first Zombieland, but Double Tap surprised me at how much more fun and exciting I found it to be over its predecessor. This is again another dumb fun time at the movies. I'm not a big fan of the colors palette. I'm not a big fan of the film's color palette, but I mean, whatever. Knives Out is an excellent whodunit with probably my favorite cast of characters all year. Exciting writing, cool costumes, a nice look. I'm just happy that Rian Johnson gets some praise this year after getting shit on for the last 2 years. This movie surprised me at how much it revealed early on, but it kept adding twists and turns after that ended up resulting in like 3 whodunits, so it all worked out. I can't wait to see it again. I saw the director's cut of the current war, and I'm not really sure why it only has mediocre reviews. This is a very fast-paced movie with terrific editing and really neat cinematography and lighting and a really great score. The performances are good, and I was intrigued with how they were taking this Edison, Tesla, and Westinghouse story. More people should see this movie. Booksmart is one of my favorite comedies of the year. I laughed a lot, I teared up a little towards the end, but most of all, I related to it. This is a heartwarming movie with 2 central characters that have amazing chemistry. I can't wait to see what Olivia Wilde does behind the camera next. I actually got to see this movie early at my school. Beanie Feldstein and Caitlin Dever came for a Q&A as well. It was super cool. Honey Boy has one of the best scripts all year and one of the best performances all year, thanks to Shia LaBeouf. I'm super happy he's coming around again and making some great films. He's extremely talented. This is a very candid story about someone's life I really care about, and this is an excellent peek behind the curtain into that life. Lucas Hedges and Noah Jupe give great performances, and the cinematography, while a little shaky and blurry at times, is awesome. Another female debut this year. I can't wait for more by Alma Harrell. I enjoyed Yesterday a lot more than most. One of the most interesting concepts I've ever heard of, and it paid off for me. I understand why this movie has criticisms, and I agree not all of its ideas are fleshed out to their full potential, but I still had a great time. It's super funny too. We made it to the top 10, and I just want to remind you, this is an order of how much I enjoy them, not the quality. Number 9 is way better than number 2, and 5 is probably the best movie on the list. So just remember that. It's how much I enjoy them. And it's my opinion, damn it. Fighting with My Family is one of the most surprising movies of the year. I thought it would be okay with well intentions, but I loved it. Florence Pugh is in 3 of the year's best movies, we'll get to the 3rd one later, and I can't wait to see her in Black Widow. This is probably the most feel-good movie I saw all of 2019. I was grinning like a fool from the opening credits to the ending credits. Just watch this movie if you want to feel good. Marriage Story. Damn, this movie is sad. 2 of the best leading performances all year with terrific writing and beautiful music. Good editing, too. I hope Laura Dern wins the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. My friend and I went to the bar after we saw this movie because we were so fucking sad. The iconic and memed up fight scene is great, Scarlett venting is awesome, and the scene where Adam Driver sings, it's just perfect filmmaking. If you haven't seen this movie yet, what the fuck are you doing? Borrow someone's Netflix if you need to. Uncut Gems is Manic, one of the most intense movies of the year without a doubt. Adam Sandler is worthy of an Oscar nomination here. He was just terrific. Seriously. The editing is wild, the music is trippy, the whole movie just screams chaos. Everyone yells over each other the entire runtime. I wish there was more of a cohesive story in the first act, but other than that, this movie is absolutely crazy and has one of the best and most satisfying endings of the year. Go see this movie. The Witch is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and Robert Eggers did not disappoint with his second outing, The Lighthouse. Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe give Oscar-worthy performances with probably my favorite script of the whole year. The dialogue is infectious, the story goes in so many different directions, and it just looks phenomenal. They built everything from scratch. That's dedication. This should be getting all of the nominations from all of the award shows, but I guess it's too weird for them. It's more suspenseful than it is scary, but this movie is not one to sleep on. Little Women was the very last movie I saw in 2019, and it's one of the best. I undeniably, without a doubt, prefer original content over adaptations or remakes, but I love this movie way more than Lady Bird, to be honest. I think it surprised me because of how much it made me invested in the story I've heard over 1 million times. This movie is fucking gorgeous. It has my favorite cinematography all year and my favorite score of all year. The production design is excellent, the costumes are beautiful, stellar performances across the board, and I do believe Greta Gerwig is worthy of a Best Director nomination. Come on, Oscars, don't sleep on this one. If it doesn't get nominated for Best Picture, I'm going to riot. The only thing keeping it from being higher on the list is I think it was a bit too fast. It swapped between the past and present a bit too often, and I know they had their reasons for it, it just didn't work 100% of the time for me. Still, a marvelous film. What can I say that already hasn't been said about Parasite? One of the best scripts of the year, hilarious characters, and stellar direction. It looks great, the house they built is great, everything about it is great. The very beginning and the very end are a little iffy for me, but everything in between is just perfect filmmaking. I've never seen a movie blend so many genres into one movie so seamlessly before. Hell, this movie probably created its own genre. I can't wait for Bong Joon-ho to finally win an Oscar. It's gonna happen. Jojo Rabbit is the saddest feel-good movie I've ever seen. A terrific script, beautiful music, and excellent cast, Taika Waititi made something special. Roman Griffin Davis. What the fuck? He gives one of the best child performances I've ever seen. Nominate a Kid Academy, I dare you. There's honestly not a lot I can say. I laughed, I cried, I loved every minute of this film. Do yourself a favor and buy it when it comes out. More people need to see it. It's so heartwarming and sad and funny and ScarJo and Yeah, Joker is amazing. I love the direction, the music, the production design, the cinematography, honestly, everything. There's a couple of lines that I think are bad writing and it's a little slow on rewatches, but I appreciate this film quite a bit. It's so dark and gritty and everything I would want from a Joker origin movie. Also, just give Joaquin the Oscar. Why wouldn't you? Because Adam Driver yells? There's no Joaquin Phoenix in Joker. It's Arthur Fleck on screen. It's Joker. This is a movie no one saw, and it was my favorite of the year for a long time, but my number 2 is... Max Minghella brings us a story where, well, it's essentially, now that I think about it, it's just Elle Fanning competing in a singing competition. That's about it. It's not at all a perfect movie, and it's not really that original either, but I love it. The lighting is astounding, and the musical numbers are very good. And screw the haters, Elle Fanning is a great singer. The scenes with her and her very Russian vocal coach are some of the best banter of the year. A lot of people slept on this movie, and I wish it got more love. There's a romance subplot that kind of brings Teen Spirit down from being number 1, but as an aspiring filmmaker, I can't get enough of this movie. Alright, here it is, my favorite movie of 2019. Directed by Trey Edward Schultz. Waves. I think this movie is a masterpiece. The writing is great, the direction is great, the cinematography is gorgeous and innovative and unique. The use of color and how it bursts onto the screen is just beautiful. This movie, to put it simply, is just about a family and how they deal with some tragedies, and I found it super engrossing. Just when you think the movie is about to be over, you still have half of the movie to go. The second half is a lot slower than the first half, and I mean a lot slower. That's where I can see a lot of people having problems with it, and I understand those criticisms, but I was in it completely. Waves is incredibly emotional and so well made with amazing performances across the entire board. It should not be missed, and it is my favorite movie of 2019. Well, those were my favorite movies of 2019. The decade is ending, and I can't wait to see what 2020 has to bring when it comes to movies. There are going to be quite a lot of good ones. So what were your favorite movies of the year? Did you agree with my list? Did you disagree? Honestly, just put whatever your thoughts are in the comments. And if you liked the video, then thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I'll see you again in the next one. Thanks a lot. Have a happy new year. Keep watching movies.